Hello everyone. I think you might be able to hear me right now. My video was not working, so I'm having to do a couple things. Hello. I'll be right there. Yeah, I don't know why, but my video is a little weird. I'm just gonna get this in here, but welcome. I hope you guys can hear me. My camera is also a little closer, so I'm hoping I'm not gonna bump it too much. But, oh, I gotta do one other thing. I'm just getting myself together here. All right, I think I got it. Well, welcome everybody. I think you can see me good and we're all good. I just need to get my chat up, but I am a little behind. I had a few little technical hiccups today, which you guys know that doesn't really happen very often. But I didn't realize that every time I restart my camera, that I have to save the settings or they all go away. So I was managing that. And now I got my phone chat up. So I'll be able to keep up with you guys. Welcome, welcome. Let's see here. Thank you, Cameron, for giving me that. I appreciate it. Oh, we're all here. We get Wolf, you're gonna be coming back for the replay. So when you come back, hello, hello. Hi, Karen. So glad that you're here. Oh, it's a little weird today. It says at, like your names have ats in front of it. Is that just on my phone? Huh. YouTube's always doing something different, isn't they? So let's see here. Hello to everyone tuned in today. Yeah, I'm sorry, Wolfie can't be here either. Loretta's here. Welcome, Loretta. Ari's here. Susan's here. Hello, Susan. Karen. Yeah, I'm really glad I got it working too. Paula's here. Isn't that weird? Is everyone else seeing that different? Teresa's here. Welcome, Teresa. Dawn, I thought that was strange too. They even added numbers behind our names. I know, like I can't see their names. It's like everybody's in on their official YouTube name. So if they have the numbers added, I don't know. We're just going to have to go with the flow today because like, the person, the 206 LNIETO, like I don't know their name. So that's a little weird. I'm wondering if it's Laura. But yeah, most people have their names in there, so that's good. Yeah, I was thinking it was you, Laura. Good luck on my memory though. I don't know if I'll be able to remember all that. But we have I'm always trying to go with, so let's see here. Like, for you, so you guys understand my intention with the lives and how they're evolving is I want to keep them going, and life is evolving and changing always. And so you're growing and you're figuring yourself out and what you want and where you want to go. And the lives, as I told you, are really, really special because what I'm into the lives for, my main focus is to connect with you, my community, and be able to talk and have a great, time creating and just connecting of people all over the world. We have people from Australia, the Netherlands, and, Canada and the US. It's just a really great way to connect. So each week when I am getting ready to do my lives, I'm like, what am I feeling this week? How am I feeling? What do I want to do? And I'm trying to go into more of that flow instead of trying to keep them into this structured thing because, that's not always going to work as it used to. So I'm trying to evolve them to be even more authentic and more of a unique peek inside my creative process, my studio, my personal time. I mean, yeah, it's not as personal when I'm sharing it, but I like to be able to share peeks into that. So that's kind of my intention with the live streams. And if you are new to me and you want more of a structured beginning to end, but I always feel like there's gems inside these live streams. But if you're looking for a little bit more of that beginning to end, I have over 100, I think 120 live streams that you can just click under my tab under live and you can go watch some of the earlier live streams that I have too. There's a plethora of information out there. And then of course, all of this is linked in to my Pastel Insider membership, which has just reached over a year, which I'm thrilled about. And if you want to go deeper, that is where to go. And it's $20 a month. You can try it out, see how you like it, cancel anytime. But that's where kind of the depth is, and you really get into the technical depth of my creative process, and I go into everything with way more detail, and I guide you to kind of help make you have an easier journey with soft pastel. So I thought that would be good to say that, because, you know, I'm always evolving, and people are, you know, a lot of you have been with me for a long time, and I think the OGs in the community really get it. But yeah, it's always evolving. So with that said, this week, what I came up with is, I know there's probably some of you out there that have some pieces that are unfinished. Like maybe you started them with this inspiration and you felt inspired and you're like, all right, I'm so excited to try this out. And then, you know, maybe something came up in your life, or you saw something different or whatever, and you have these unfinished pieces. And I have several of those. So, you know, raise your hand in chat if you've got a few unfinished pieces or project. They don't even have to be soft pastel, but, you know, any unfinished project. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that have those in your wheelhouse right now, in your home, in your studio, unfinished projects. Yep, Loretta, she's one of them. She's got her hand raised. Hi, Peggy. So glad you made it. Hello, Louise. So glad you guys are all here. That new thing is really weird. I'm thinking it's just a glitch. Let's hope. So Loretta's got unfinished pieces. I'm sure there's more of you out there. But today I want to get you involved. I'm going to show you a few pieces. And oh, Susan has several unfinished pieces, right? Like we get inspired and then we're like, oh, well, I'm not inspired as much anymore. Now what do I do? Amy's one of them. She's like, me. Sorry, but I can't raise my hand. I've always finished every painting, and I'm sure that makes me weird. That does not make you weird, Karen. I have finished most of my pieces, but as life kind of changes and evolves, I've had quite a few unfinished ones, especially with the way I'm doing the live streams and the Pastel Insider and my own personal time. And so it's a little bit where I think that's what's happening, Karen, is I'm like, I gotta finish these pieces because I call, you know, I'm a gamer too. And when I game, you know, we call some of ourselves completists. We're completists. I like to complete things. And so to have these unfinished, it's kind of driving me a little batty. And, you know, some of you might not feel that same, you know, pull or anything like that. And we're all different. But I thought we'd talk more about that today. And so that's what I'm leaning into. And I have a few that I'm really excited about. So this one's a large one. It is a 16 by 16. You can see with my hands, it's pretty large. So this is a collage type abstract where I bridge the world between abstract and, you know, realism and kind of collage vibe. I have a huge collage background and, you know, stamping, and I was a digital scrapbooking designer. And so I worked in all these like clusters and layering, and that's kind of what my style has derived from. But so this is one. And it has a way, I really am not too thrilled with the rainbow in it. So I kind of want to redo this. But this all has basically just the blocking in stages where I'm just starting to really develop the color. So this is one we can work on. Let's see. I'm a registered completist, says Paula. Oh my God, I love that so much. Yeah, I know there's some of us out there. You know, normally I'd be on the registered completist list, but it just hasn't been happening. Susan says, when I morphed from acrylics to pastel, I just couldn't go back to acrylic, so the paint is packed away. Yeah, I finally had to pack that away for me too. I just found pastel is just so, it's just leans into the instant gratification that even if I go back to acrylic, I've done it a handful of times on my journey, and after a couple days, I'm like, no. Pastel is so much more instant gratification for me. So yeah, Louise says, oh my goodness, not only YouTube weirdness, Apple have updated and all of these weird new screens things. I don't like it. Oh, that's weird. Well, it might not last, Louise. This doesn't look like something that would last. So I'll go do some research after this live and we'll see what's going on. But I'm really stoked you guys are all here. Chrisella, do you have unfinished or are you just saying hi? Because I can't tell. Chrisella, I'm really glad that you're here. We are talking about unfinished pieces. So I'm sure you might raise your hand. You might have some unfinished pieces, but maybe you don't. But we're going to talk about kind of breaking through and waking them up again. So I really believe in energy. Energy is my go-to. I'm all about vibration. That's why I've created this high vibe community. I really think we have created something special here together. And so a lot of times when a painting goes outside of our, alignment of what we're doing and we don't feel connected to it anymore, we just have to reconnect. Just like reconnecting with your art supplies and reconnecting with your studio space. That's why I'm encouraging, showing up and playing more and scribbling and just waking up your supplies and reconnecting with them. So that's a little bit about what we're also talking about today. Hi, Chrisella. I'm so glad you made it today. So I have quite a few of you in chat. So 24 of you here already. So welcome, everybody. I would love to say hi to you. So if you're here, definitely say hi. All right. So I'm going to call this one I don't think I have anything like it. So I'm going to call this one the rainbow. So this will be the rainbow portal. Okay. This one's the rainbow portal. And now I'm going to show you a couple others and then you guys are going to vote. So I'm going to start my poll here. And the poll is going to be which painting to start with, or which painting should I start first? Okay, so now I'm calling this one the rainbow portal. Rainbow portal. And then I have a couple more. And I know I don't want to show you too many of them because what will happen, it'll split the votes so much because I only got 24 of you in here so far. So I hope all 24 of you are wanting to vote because I think what I'm going to do is pick like 3 and let you vote from them. So I'm going to have to kind of consolidate down to kind of give where we're going. So I'm going to pull this one down. This is going to take probably a few minutes to get us going because then I have to pick out what I'm going to work on. So I'm going to set this one right here. And then I got this guy. Now this one, I would be working mainly in sticks. So this one is the cone flowers. And you guys saw this a few months ago. So most of these, you can watch the initial live stream to see how they developed a little bit. So this one's a real just free-flowing, kind of leaning into looseness. And what I feel like I need to do is I want to develop this area a little bit more. I want to push some of my blacks back and I want to bring some of my vibrancy in this area up. And I really love kind of the water vibe I have here. So that's what I want to do with that. I have to pull sticks for that. So that's why my table behind me is open, is because if I have to pull sticks, I'm pulling my trays out and I'm just going to put them up there. And I have a few pulled already. So this one, I'm going to call it the Field of Flowers. So there's that one. And then it's a toss-up for me on this next one. I think I'm going to put this one in there. All right, we got these 3. So I have an upcoming auction that is happening on November 4th. I have a solo day and I have to get some of these finished. So I thought this would be a lot of fun to do. So this one she is the tattooed poppy garden. I don't know. I don't really know where she's going. But I have a lot I want to do with her. I have to bring up the values in this piece of her skin tones. And I also have to work on making these poppies. I don't know how, if it will work the way I want to do, but I want to make them looking like they're in her skin a little bit more. And if they don't, that's okay too. But I'm working, this one has to be finished also. So I also have her hair to work on and things like that. So I'm going to call this one my, my figurative. Okay, so I'm going to start the poll and I'm going to catch up with chat here why that poll is going. Let's see here. Impersonation and confusion. The numbers are added to existing usernames to ensure that no two channels have the same handle, which is particularly useful for creators and channels. This change is part of YouTube's effort to maintain the integrity and security of its platform. Ah, well, we'll have to see. Let's see, Gwen's here. So yeah, I guess we're gonna have to make sure our usernames actually have our names in them, or I won't be able to say hi. So that'll be different. Well, maybe they're having problems with that. Chrisella says she's unstarted. Well, there's no reason. That's okay. You can be in there. You're showing up here, and that is a start. So you're showing up. You're watching the lives. You're part of the community, and that's huge, Chrisella. I'm glad that you're here. Let's see. The @ symbol and the 4-digit number on YouTube are part of the new system called Handles. This system was introduced to ensure that every YouTube channel has a unique. All right. Wow. That'll be interesting. So Tartle, I don't know. Yeah, I've hit a wall with Amanita and the bird, and I'm looking at them daily and I'm not feeling it. All right, well, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Is this Sarah? Sarah, are you the tartlet art? I'm thinking that might be you. Hey, I'm pretty proud of myself if I figured that out. So I'm just saying, I'm tooting my own horn in that department. I'm like, oh, I think that might be Sarah. Sarah, we are here for you. And I'm going to talk about some things of how we can get reconnected with that piece, okay? I finally made it to the live class. Gwen is here from Ontario, Canada. Welcome, Gwen. So glad that you're here. Welcome to the magic, says Susan. Oh, I love that. Love that. Michelle's here. Welcome, Michelle. Oh, good. I'm glad I figured that out, Sarah. Welcome. See, I'm here. I'm connected to you guys. So let's talk a little bit why you guys are voting. Remember, we got vote 61% saying figurative. So I got 3 choices up there, and we have quite a few. So just if you just showed up, we got the flowers in the field that I want to finish. And we've got our rainbow portal. And we've got our figurative. So come on, you guys, let's vote. There's over 25 of you in here. I'm hoping you guys will all participate. No pressure. But, you know, Sarah, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about that disconnect, like how I was saying, we really have to wake pieces up. Now, I feel that way a little bit about the 3 pieces I've shown you. But what I've learned is over the years, I've just really learned that it really is about energy. So, you know, if you have that where you maybe on that lesson, you go and maybe watch a little bit of that video section of me working with it. And I think you watch the application video and then maybe just practice some of that and then kind of woke her up again. Like maybe just even doing an eye on the side, or, you know, playing around with some small bits where you could just kind of warm yourself up to reconnecting with her again. And I really would love for you to resist erasing the whole face, because I saw that whole face and you did a pretty good job. So don't be so hard on yourself. And remember that, you know, I have so many more hours of pieces that I've erased multiple times. And every time you, you know, lean into that, you're growing and you're leveling up. But we have to really be gentle with ourselves along the way. So sometimes we can be our worst critique, you know, and have that in our head that it's not good enough. And you did great. You're almost there. And I think frustration kind of got you. So I hope that maybe today I'll be able to inspire you to show up again for that Amanita piece, because I was really proud of you and I think you did a great job getting to where you were, and it's going to be easier this next time. So I don't know if you have her all erased to that spot. You can definitely retransfer that face and over that section and line it up and restart. Just start fresh. You got this. So I hope that's inspiring. Let's see. Vivian's here. Welcome, Vivian. We have a new thing going on with YouTube today, but we're going with it. Okay, Figurative Poppies just took a 60% lead. So if you're wanting that, you guys, let's see how many votes we have in here. So we've got 20 votes. So there's 5 of you that can really have the power right now to take it another way or to keep it where it's at. So I'm going to show them one more time, and then what we're going to have to do is whatever takes the lead, I'm going to have to pull some of those colors, and I'll talk about that as I pull colors and why. And that'll be our, kind of a little bit of a lesson, just insight of how I pull colors and how that works. So we are going with 60%, the rainbow portals down to 25. Oh, Figurative Poppies, yep. And then the Field of Flowers is down to 15. So here we go. Let's see here. Let me answer a couple more questions. Well, I don't think I have any more questions. All right. I'm going to close it down because we're going to have time to be able to do all this. I'm thinking I'll put these up because I'm thinking you guys are going the other way. So I really wanted to work on her too. It'll be fun. So I'm going to put these over here. Get your vote in. Because when I'm done with this, I'm closing it down. All right. All right, here we go. Last chance to vote. The rainbow portal. Not to say I can't work on both of them today. So what I might do is I'll start on this one, bring it to a certain spot, and then I'll work on the rainbow. I'll go in order depending on how it goes. So I think that would be a lot of fun to do. So like it's going to be 2 o'clock here. So maybe at 2:30, 2:45, I'll work on another one and I'll shift gears. I think that would be fun. So I'm going to end poll here. And we have got 57%, 21 votes. So thank you for all of you guys participating, and we will get started here. All right, so I got the figurative one already up, so we'll talk a little bit about that, and then we'll come back here at 2. Let's see, that's halfway in, so 2:45. Then I'll have 45 minutes for each one, and that would be a lot of fun. So that's what I'm going to do, and then let me get this set up. I have there we go. All right, so I feel like the thing I'm really excited about this, guys, is the saturation is up a little bit on my end. I can see that, but check this out. I got my reds to look really red. I mean, it's working. I'm really proud of that. That took a while. I mean, I could probably knock down the saturation a hair, but I'm pretty stoked about that. All right, so with this one, I'm going to get into gear here. I do have a reference that I worked with. I'll show you the reference that I'm working with. And she is changed. I like to change my references. I use them for their structure, and then I go in and do my own thing with them. So this is the reference that I got on Unsplash. Really love the lighting and all of that, but I'm really excited about how I've changed her a little bit. Now you can see here on the face, Cameron and I actually brushed up against her, and I had her on the wall. I'm not as careful about all my pieces. I just hang them on a wall for a while or a board, and then I'll protect them when they're all done. So she's got a little bit of brush, spot in here that I could probably take and push back a little bit. So I'm just going to grab the colors that I think I'm going to use. Now, since we're in PanPastel, I'm going to pull those out a bit. And this is how I store them, guys. So you can see I keep them all in my containers, and then I move them around. So the moving them around, just shows that they're taking up this footprint. I don't always have them out here in this table. I mostly do that for my live streams or if I'm working on something specific, because they take up a lot of space. So then I'm just going to go take off their lids. And I already have some pulled, and that was for another project that I just finished up. I'll give you guys a sneak, a little like insider information that I'm excited about. That the palette I just worked with right here, I didn't use them all, but I got invited from Blick and Canson to do a video, a reel. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm finishing that up. That's going to post at the end of the month, and then I'll tell you more. But that was a lot of fun. I had so much fun doing it, and it was like a shopping trip, and it was really fun. So that's my little insider little info. Thank you, Gwen. Michelle says, love seeing the reference, then what you have done with it. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. I'm pretty excited about it. You know what it really taught me? You'll see when the video comes out. It really taught me to be open. And I think as artists, that is the biggest advice I can give all of you, is on my own journey, I'm actually confronting it right now, lately, is that I really am trying to stay open and not closed and rigid of like, oh, this is my process, this is what I use, and this is what I do. And I think that is really, starting to pay off for me, because I am being more open. And sometimes saying, well, I'm a landscape artist, or I only work in this way, or I only do this, or I only do portraits, or, I only do flowers. You're really kind of limiting yourself. So to stay a little open and fluid and flexible can really allow more opportunities to come in your life. So that's just from my own experience. Let's see. I teach, so I have so many. What do you mean, Vivian? Did I miss something? Oh, you said hello. Welcome, Vivian. So glad you're in chat. I would love some more context with that. You have so many what? PanPastels, pastels? What are you referring to on there? Okay, thank you guys for your congrats. I really appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to go in here, and I'm thinking about, I haven't connected with this piece. I haven't worked with her in probably, I would say about a couple months. So the one thing I'm noticing is I did use this extra dark stick pastel with her. I'm going to show you a scrap piece of paper and show you where she is. So see these really dark areas? They're not black. And I have and was and am been obsessed with using dark violets, because sometimes when you use just black, it can be a little flat. They teach a lot of that in watercolor, and I did watercolor for 10 years before doing PanPastel for 7. And so Dakota actually came out with this, but I used to use one by who was it? Terry Ludwig. And they had a Violet 700, I think is what it was, or Violet 100. It was either 700 or 100. I think it was 100. And this one is ultra soft. The other one was a little hard, and it's a 10 on the value scale, guys. Like it's up there. So to find a violet that has that, I use violet a lot for my shadows when I'm working. So you can see it in here, and like if I just start putting it in a couple spots, it will kind of connect it because we rubbed up against that quite a bit. So I'm just going to go in, and when I'm trying to wake something up and reconnect with it, a lot of times I'll just start easy, like re-putting in some of these darks here, just reconnecting with it. Even if I'm going over a couple spots, I don't really care. I'll probably start on something easy like her arm or her skin tone, because I don't feel as like I'm in flow with her yet. So that is something that's natural. Like we just have to lean into that, and maybe we don't feel it yet, but you know, just going and leaning into some of that can help get us started. If there was something I was questioning, I could always, you know, do a little piece off to the side and warm up with the colors and everything. But I think for the most part, I'm just kind of going to go in with this black and kind of touch down some of these shadows in here and even rub it out a little bit. And I'm okay with that. And that's just going to help me kind of get started. So this is I think it's under Schminky, and it's it's from Dakota Pastel, so you'd have to go to their website, and it's a violet, and it's really, really, they just came out with it about a year ago, if I recall. So I have light coming up here, so I'm not going to go into there. So I feel like I got quite a bit of it into there. And I might even want to push a little bit in with her hair here, because this is a lot darker. And you know, the other thing that happens when I go back to a piece that I haven't touched in a while is I see things that I didn't see before. And that always helps me. Now you can see how that's really pushed her arm back. It almost looks like her arm's floating, and I'll have to go back and forth with that because it's not, because that's just how I work. I work back and forth. So my rag here is pretty dirty. I was working on something earlier. So I'm going to go and I use these microfiber rags to catch all my PanPastel. I'm really careful with them. I like to fold them over and I like to put them back in their clip. And this is where I'm wiping off. So I'm trying to talk about that a little bit more because I'm finding when I taught in person, when I was in Connecticut, that some of the students did not understand, you know, how I was using the rag, and I'm probably wiping off twice as much as you think I am. So I'm starting to call that out when I'm working. So I'm going to grab some wands here and try to get one that's right in about the same tone as like the skin. You see that? So I'm going to start bringing some of those skin tones up a little bit. I already have my burnt sienna family up here, as you can see, and that's probably in the range that I need because right now I'm going to be kind of pushing back and forward here. And I have these feathers coming down right here. So I do want this to kind of go back into it. So I'm going to just go with some darks and work with this little section right here. Now I'm working on the UART paper, and the UART is lovely for having these unlimited layering capabilities. Like I feel like I can always use pencils with them. I don't have to limit my layers to also integrate the pencils. Some of the other papers I do feel that way, so that's why I really love UART. I will say UART, learning to express this, it floats on the paper a little bit more. So application is something you have to really kind of get used to and understand how it works. So when I did an application video on here a couple weeks ago that you really want to get off the bottom layer so you're blending and you can get that. So now I'm pushing that shoulder back in and I'm bringing it up a little bit and I'm working the purple in for a transition. So I'll probably have to play with that because this looks a little funny right here, the way it's bent. And I think what it is this shadow in here is too strong. And then her knee shadow is a little strong. So I'm going to bring that up. And it's just taking that time to see it. Like, I'm just working with it, kind of like, well, what am I seeing? And I'm starting small because I'm not in a super rush, because I'm also enjoying the process that, you know, the journey she's taking me on. So you can see how I've just closed that gap a little bit right there, and I'm going to close this gap even a little bit more so her arm doesn't look indented. So we're seeing value there, and I talk a lot more in depth about value and how much it's your superpower in my full lessons on in my Pastel Insider membership. So if you want to dive into that more, I definitely get deep about value because it's my favorite thing to talk about, as you guys know. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to slowly reduce this gap here. And that is going to help that area kind of connect a little bit more so her arm looks a little bit more natural. And then I'm wiping off my wand and I'm going to go into the light with the burnt sienna. So I'm using both the light and the burnt sienna core. So if you are new here, I want you guys all to know that I have a new intro to PanPastel. I get you all set up on the colors that I use the most frequently. I get you set up with just doing a smaller lesson that only requires like, I think it's 4 colors and a couple pastel pencils. So it's really a great way to get started. And I hope you guys will check it out, because if you're new, you just have to go to my website and sign up for my newsletter. Then you'll get sent a welcome newsletter. And then in that welcome newsletter, there will be a link to join the Pastel free library. And it's a great resource just to get started, to see if you like it. You can, even if you don't have the pastels or anything yet, you can go watch the videos, see if you enjoy that teaching style, if it's something you think you might be called to do. So that's why I've really set that up, is to kind of give people that little insight. All right, I'm going to check up on chat here. Are the sticks as easy to erase as the pans? No, they're not. You should definitely just go play with that, Paula. Like, go see how it feels with the sticks. And a lot of times you don't want to put the stick pastels underneath the pan pastel. So some of them I know are really soft that I can go back and forth with. But in any range, you know, PanPastel's ultra soft. So you're dealing with a pastel that has very little binder in it. So PanPastel, they're all the same. So everything is the same. It's just how much pigment how much pigment and how much binder do they have? Is it high quality pigment? Is it low quality? Is it just full of fillers? Or, you know, that's what makes PanPastel so special, is you really are painting with pigment. And you do get used to the wand and all of that. It just takes a little bit of time, but you're basically painting with pure pigment instead of having an acrylic binder or a watercolor binder or more binder. So the sticks, when they are created, have to have a little bit more binder in them. And that's what you're dealing with a hard, medium, or soft stick, is how much binder that they've put in them. And so the stick I use down here has a lot less binder. So it's going to work with the PanPastel a little bit more. So I hope that explanation helps you guys out. It's the same with pastel pencils. They're just mini sticks. So with the Carbothello brand, they're in more of a medium hardness, where you can do almost everything with them back. And, you know, I just feel like they're a great, this is the set of 48 for the Carbothello pencils is my go-to. I highly suggest that for new people that are starting. And then I also share with you, you know, over a wide range of some of my favorite Caran d'Ache, and those are softer. They're probably the softest brand. So they're a little bit like you're having to work with them a little bit differently, and they'll sit on top of the paper a little bit more. All right, let's see. Is this not the eggplant, Sissy? Welcome to chat. I think it's your first time in chat. Hello, so glad you came. It is not that I have the Terry Ludwig eggplant. That's what I used first. That is a harder one, and it actually sloughs off on this 600 paper, because this is a 600 dark for UART, a little bit more. It doesn't really go into the paper. It's not as soft. And this is the new one that just came out about a year and a half ago. It is the Schminky that Dakota Art has put together. I think I have one that's outside of its wrapper here. Let me see if I can grab it really quick. Yeah, here we go. I got the wrapper. So it was a Schminky one, and I don't keep wrappers on, but it's from Dakota Pastel. They carry it now, and I don't have the full call out number on it. I'm seeing I did buy a group of them, so I'm trying to see if I have them in here. Because, oh, here's another one that's unwrapped. Let me see if there's a number on it. That's the only thing with stick pastels, is keeping up with their numbers. But if you go on their site, I will try to go on there and link it up down. It'll take me a little bit. I have to wait till I, after the live stream. But I actually bought like I bought like 4 of them because I knew I was going to love them. So let's see here. Can you repeat what you just said about layering and UART? Not sure what you mean. Can you expand on that? Like, what is the question about what I mean? With the layering with the UART, do you mean like in order of sticks versus pans? Or are you talking about how I'm working with application of the PanPastel? I just got home. I'm catching up on chat. I thought the usernames were already required to be unique. I thought the same thing, but I thought it would still, put your name that you want forward. So that's a little weird. I love the dark violet too, Sissy. I just realized over the weekend that I bought my first 2 pan classes in November of 23. Guess I should start one. I would love it if you started one, Chrisella. Sometimes you just have to start. Like, we're here, I believe we're here to experience life and get uncomfortable. So sometimes we can, try to protect ourselves from that and not wanting to get uncomfortable. And, that's a natural feeling, but definitely worth the journey to get uncomfortable with art and just realize it's a learning process. And don't be hard on yourself. Even if you just go and swatch the pans around and scribble and play. There was a live stream a couple weeks ago that I talked about just doing play with. And if you're just showing up and getting used to the medium, that can be really helpful. So I have this little blur here I'm trying to fix. This is really easy to fix. And I'm just going to try to create a division of the two. And I'll probably come back with pencils. I'm looking at my monitor because that really can help me with value right here. So I'm just kind of bumping them down again because I want this section to be a little dark. So right in here, she's a little muddy. It's the values are too high right there. You see that? So I'm going to have to play with that a little bit, and I like to use the violets. So I don't think this violet is going to be dark enough, see? So I'm going to go in here with some black, and then I might just go push that violet, that back with my violet stick. And just let it be in that section. And I can sit with that a little bit. Might not be perfect. But I think what would help this is if I brought the hair out a little bit. So I'm going to just, see, one thing will start leading to another. So I'm starting to get connected with the painting again because I was totally disconnected with her. I had no real excitement about starting her back. I'm excited to start and reconnect with her because I know that that's part of the journey. But sometimes it can take a little bit to get just back into it again. So I'm just bringing this hair up. See? So that's disconnecting it from the face. And I'm going to bring some vibrancy into this one section here. This is the red iron oxide, which I feel is a really understated color. I did not give it a lot of my, attention. And now I'm like, it's one of my favorites. I have a little bit of the orange. I'm going to bring my orange shade in here because I can see that I'm thinking it might be the orange shade, or it might be a little bit of just the raw burnt sienna. I think it's just that. So that's the other thing, is you have to reconnect with your colors again of how you were working. I mean, ideally, it would be nice if I took notes, but I mean, let's get real here. I don't take notes on all of that. So this will get to a spot where I will want to use my, got urge to use that. I don't want to use that. Where I'll want to start using pencils. Let's see if you guys want to catch up on questions. The application of the PanPastel on the paper. Can you apply more layers on UART than other papers? Yes. This paper, the reason why I love it so much is I can apply, I feel, almost unlimited layers with also being able to put pencils on top of it. So you can see I've already put quite a bit of pan on here. Like I have probably 2 to 3, probably 3 layers, and I can still go on here with my pastel pencils and start incorporating them on there, and they take the pencil fully. I have probably another few layers that I can still add with this paper. Now with this paper, a lot of beginners have a hard time getting up off the bottom layer. So I have a whole video. I'll link it down below after the live. I can't do it right now, but I have a whole video just on application. I've also put it inside my membership, just on application, where I really focus on that. So if you want a deeper dive, definitely go watch that video. And I share a lot about the layering. I also have a video that does pastel matte versus UART. That is a few months ago, where I just kind of show with kind of certain styles that I'm working with. If I'm working in all PanPastel, it's different than if I'm working with PanPastel and pencils and sticks. Sometimes I just really like being able to have that ability to be able to use the pastel pencils, and a lot of papers won't accept them over a certain amount of layers. So you have to kind of think about that when you're wanting to use them, and what your plan is, like there's some pre-planning in that evolved. So I'm just kind of starting to get her hair to come up a little bit of vibrancy right there, because I'm feeling like that light is hitting the hair too. So I'm just working in some of those oranges, and just wondering on here, let me see if I can, FN, menu. I'm going to just checking this really quick. Here we go. So I am going to take down the saturation a little bit. There we go. There we go. That's a little bit more true. All right. So I'm just kind of playing around with this, and you can see how I can change my mind and I can just go over this. But what happens is when you start putting PanPastel over pastel pencils is it will just knock them away, but I can still do what I want. So that's the beautiful flexibility of working with them both. So I'm just going to go in here and try to connect with this. So I'm just getting reconnected. With her hair. And I do feel like up here went a little, I'm going to knock some of that pencil down. And I've got a lot of light that hits right here. So this is the orange shade. Now you can see how it is pretty bright on the piece. And what I like to do is I'm working on dark paper, and I know this area right here is a little bit brighter. So I can go in here and get my orange, which I have stacks of things around here, and put that into my palette. So that has made up, you know, that decision. I'm not going to really use this raw umber in here, so I'm going to pull the raw umber because that's not in today's thing. And then that's going to allow me to kind of just put these together. So if I want to go up in vibrancy, because orange is the core color in the family, so it's got the highest chroma, I can go in here and add some pops of that light here because I'm going up on the value scale. So now it's going to start looking like I have light. And this is where I might want to switch in between two wands, is I basically have multiple wands going here, but a lot of times I don't really fully, you know, I'll just use one. But when I'm dealing with skin tones, I really want those skin tones to stay a little bit fresher. So I want to bring in some light up here on the knee. So I'm going to go into this burnt sienna light. This is one of the new colors, which I love. So, you know, PanPastel came out with 53 new colors. I have a whole video on that. But these colors really filled in a lot of gaps. So this was one that I really love because I use burnt sienna family a ton. And this burnt sienna, just, I really always had to mix in between. So if I was going to mix this color, I would take the burnt sienna and I would have to tap in white to get the burnt sienna light. And when you're mixing all the time, it can be quite frustrating when you're using a color heavily. So I talk about in the new like intro to PanPastel lesson is like what makes me choose a color is how much I want to use it, because you don't want to be mixing all the time. And that's one of the most misleading things about PanPastel that I try to demystify is, you know, it's great to mix, but there's times to mix and there's times to like be able to get a color to where you can just dip into. So I like, that's why pastel sticks, that's why you have so many sticks, because you can't mix sticks. You mix them, blending them up on layers, but you're not like mixing a palette of like paint together. You have to blend the sticks on top of each other. So that's the same thing we're kind of doing here. So I'm just going to bring this up in value up here on her knee, and that's going to start bringing some of this light in that I want to create. I want there to be a little shadow. Now, right now my wand is getting contaminated, so I'm wiping off onto the towel. Gwen says, thank you very much. I will definitely check it out. I hope so. I think you'll love that video. Louise says she lost her chat and she's feeling technically challenged today. Why do companies have to change things all the time? Congrats, Dawn, on your Blick and Canson. Well, thank you, Louise. So, Louise, my mindset with the whole change thing, because I'm 52, and I do gaming and I do things to really like keep my, like they always change something in my game. Every 3 months they change something. And I'm like, why do they keep changing stuff? So I've come to like, this is my thought process. It's not for everybody, but this is how I've been thinking about it. And it might resonate with you, Luis, and it might not. I know, Luis, you have, you know, you're definitely a little bit older than I am, but there's the thing that I always keep telling myself, it's keeping my brain young. All this change keeps us young and malleable and flexible, and it can be so frustrating. It's not to say I don't think we should like ignore that, but I always try to like soothe myself with saying, okay, they're doing something new. I'm proud of myself for keeping up with it. And Luis, you should be really proud of yourself because I know how old you are and you are rocking technology. So there are so many people that are my age and, you know, in between us that have no technical ability online. So you're doing great. But yeah, change is hard and it makes it uncomfortable and it can be really frustrating. But look at that knee, how it's just now the knee's coming out a little bit and it's connecting a little bit more with the piece. And that just takes that layering build up. So I'm off the bottom layer, and I talk, watch that application video if you want to, learn more. But I am now just building up my layers here with the values and trying to get those up to where I want. So that's what I'm using my reference photo for. I'll show you my reference photo again for those of you that maybe have just popped in. And we got to remember, oh my gosh, it's 2:30, you guys. I think I'm just going to only be able to work on one. So this is my reference photo. I really love her. She's really dramatic on here. She's a little bit more contrasty on your guys' monitor, but I really love her. She's from Unsplash. I get a lot of my references from there that I'll just use as jumping off points. I talk about using references as jumping off points in a lot of my lessons. So I just love, using them loosely to help get me where I want to go with my ideas. So I'm going to bring up the light here. I go till 3:30, so I have 2:45. I don't think I'll be able to, maybe I'll just work on this one for a little while, and then I'll just have to change gears. There's nothing wrong with that. Then you guys get a little taste of both. So I'm going to bring up her wrist right here. I'm thinking about value. If I want to pop this up even more, I could use a tint, but they'll start blending. So PanPastel is structured in these families of value, and you can see right there, it started to take away. So that's like that application. I have to wipe off my wand and add a little bit more, because when it starts taking it away, that's where we have to really pay attention. So now you can see that the light is popping off of her wrist there because her wrist is forward. So it's almost bulged quite a bit there. So I have to work on bringing all of this back up here and getting it to a spot where the light makes it look more natural. And then I also have the tattoo in there too. So I can pull up some of that. So you can see how it starts pulling it back and forth. That's the little game you play with pastel, especially on the dark paper. And Sarah, this is the part I think that was really hard, is that you're trying to keep your layers on there, but you're also trying to add more. So I'm wiping, every time I go out of the screen, I'm wiping off, and then I'm trying to create a transition. And I'm being light, like a little bunny nose. When I get on these upper layers, I'm being really gentle and I'm not pulling into them as hard. So now you can see that her wrist doesn't look like it's just bulging out of the whole thing. I'm going to keep my shadow in here a little bit more than on my reference. I'm just using the reference to get where I want. Like, I really like the shadowing where it's at here. So that's where we get to just take in our own artistic license. And that's something that just takes time to kind of learn is, we don't have to follow everything so exact. And I'm looking on the monitor just to kind of see how that's pulling up here. So whenever you're working with some subtle value shifts, it's really good to look at a monitor because it'll allow you to see things from another angle. Wiping off my wand, going in again. And my shadow is, you know, it starts gradient into here, but there is some where they do kind of join here. So I got to bring up the value a little bit. So now, you know, to talk about my feelings, I'm feeling really, it's what, 2:31. We've been in here since 1:30, and I'm just starting to feel connected to her. So realize that that's normal to feel disconnected to a piece that's been sitting for some time. And that it's normal to just feel totally disconnected. But we have to wake it back up again. And that's just something that you get used to doing, and you start pushing through those feelings a little bit more. Like even just the feeling of beginning can be hard for many of us. I know there's many of you out there that it's hard to even start, and have a great video on just getting started about the play that I did a few weeks ago about just showing up and taking a piece of paper out and just scribbling just to get where you feel inspired. You're not going to feel inspired or connected until you actually show up to, you know, to your studio. And that is the biggest thing, because 80 to 90%, I believe, of your creative journey is connected to showing up. So pushing through and telling that inner child, like, no, we're showing up today. We're going to show up. And I think that is the key there. So I'm definitely going to have to play with this part here and the fingers and everything. I'm not really feeling like I want to get into that much detail right there. I'm really liking how I worked on the knee here. I might pull up the shadow a little bit more down here. And with this, you know, you can stand back and just kind of evaluate. I don't know if this will, see how that's going to start pulling? See how that pulls right there? So I have to wipe off my wand. And remember, you want to have a clean towel too, so I can move that around. I have to reapply and get it to where it's loaded with some pastel, or it's not going to, it's going to keep pulling up. So I have to go back and forth here. So I got this going now. You can see it's kind of staying there. I got to wipe off my wand, and then I'm going to tap into the violet, the magenta, well, the magenta extra dark, and I'm creating that transition there. And that's still a little harsh, so I can go back into my burnt sienna. And it's a dance. This whole journey is a dance. See, now I got that transition. That feels a little bit better right there. Now I have that one little spot there that's kind of bugging me. I don't want to pull up more of it, so I have to kind of play there. Being really light. So now I'm going on the arm, and I'm going to smooth that out. I really have a lovely shadow right there that I want to be aware of, so I'm going to keep that shadow. And you don't always see the shadows right away. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I see the shadows. So I'm going to push this back. I'm using the same wand because that's just how I work. And I want that shadow to be there, but I also need it to be a little bit like it's the skin too. So and then I can go on top of the arm here and bring out a little bit more of the values there. There we go. So I feel like I got that transition really nice. I feel like the leg, you can see just that little subtle shift in shadow actually brought the leg out quite a bit. So I can try to round that out a little bit more. And so right up here, I feel like that is a little choppy, so I'm going to work on that. So I just get led to one thing, to another thing, to another thing. Okay, I'm going to catch up on chat here. All right. Vivian says she has a lot of unfinished paintings. Well, you have come to the right live stream, because if you haven't watched from the beginning, you definitely should watch from the beginning, because we're really talking about waking it up, reconnecting with the piece. It does take effort and time, and to really just work on something simpler in the piece. Don't go into something that's the hardest part that you were struggling with. A lot of times I'll come back to a piece and I'll start slow in some of these areas. And then as you can see, about 45 minutes goes along and I get reconnected to it. Let's see now. My last phone update changed my calendar, my calculator, my icon, and everything on a dark screen. If I wanted a dark screen. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lynn. Oh my goodness. You asked if any, yep, I did that one. Sounds like mine, Lynn. I'm so confused now. I'll be asking my teenagers for lessons. Oh, Dawn, I am your age. Oh, well. Oh, good. I think it's Karen who's older. It's Karen. That's who it was. All right. Well, you're up here. You're on technology, girl. Like, you're doing great, but change is hard. Like, we gotta keep our mind malleable. It's hard. Doing some searches and Googling, that can really help you figure out the settings, things like that. I have to say, I feel the same way about some things. Michelle Pinfield, off to work now. Do you upload these lives to watch later? All my live streams are always available for you to watch. They are there. You can just click under live. I have over 120 lives that you can watch. You got plenty of content there if you are enjoying the lives. I am the old lady, says Lynn, 70 in a few months. Gah. Oh, you guys are so sweet. I'm sorry I didn't keep up with I knew someone was older, and for some reason I was like not totally 100% there. Sorry. Let's see the live. Yeah, thank you, Susan. I appreciate you answering her question. Michelle's taken off. Bye, Michelle. You take care. I hope you're doing well. I didn't see you much in chat here today. Love seeing the reference and then what you've done with it. Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm glad you were able to pop in. Hit that like button. You are the best, Michelle. Thanks for everyone. You guys, it really helps me out. If you stop right now, there is over 38 of you in here. If you just hit that like button right now, it really helps my channel out, and it's free. Like, it's a way to freely support my channel. Watching my videos obviously helps too. Lynn says, I love the colors in this, the blue and the purple, and her hair glows. Well, thank you so much. Tartlet Art says, and that is Sarah. So what does my head in is when I look at Dawn's Amanita and convert it to black and white, and it's even tone and value across the face. Mine, however, has distinct dark side and light side. Well, you're just working with those transitions. You're getting there. You might not have it exact. And a lot of times with lessons, I'll get it to a point, and then you kind of have to move forward. And every time you show up, you're going to kind of start seeing more of that. So with those, you're going to see differences no matter what. I'm probably have a few more smoother transitions, and that is just seeing in value a little bit more. Like these subtle transitions in here, it's just learning how to see that subtlety, and maybe you're seeing a lot of times. Here, let me show you guys. So when you're new, you're probably seeing maybe like a 1, a 2, a 5, an 8, a 10. When you get more and more experience, you see more of the variations of value and how your work is affecting it when you're putting down your work. Like, I'm able to see these subtleties in light that I couldn't see a few years ago. So imagine if that's me a few years ago and I couldn't really see them. I'm trying to guide you guys on these journeys and save you time by sharing with you what I had to really focus on and practice a lot. And a lot is value. So really ask yourself how many of the figurative paintings that you've done. And a lot of times it'll probably be under 10. So anything under 10, you are just still really learning stage, and you start really developing that as more. I have hundreds below my belt, so I'm seeing things a lot more. And don't be hard on yourself. Really try to celebrate that you're showing up and you're working on it and you're learning. And you right there that you're showing up, you are in a very top percentile that you're showing up and even painting. So imagine if I have 100 people and you're one of my students in my class, you know, you're probably up in the top 5 or 10 percentile that you're actually making paintings and you're creating. And that is huge. So be gentle with yourself. I can't stress that enough, but you're going to just keep seeing and doing, and it's going to, every time you go, it's going to change. Yeah, it is value. Color and value is confusing. It just takes time. So you're going to get it. And I just showing up here today and asking questions and being, you know, part of the community, that's what we're here for. We're here to cheer each other on and support each other, and you got this. And just know that too, especially those of you who are in my Pastel Insider membership, you can always email me and I can, you know, chat with you too. So, no, it was the other Michelle leaving. I'm still here. Oh, good, Michelle. How many Michelles? Let me go see. Oh, Michelle Pinfield. Okay, goodness gracious. This new reading of the chat has got me a little like, okay, I have you guys down for over 1.5 years of seeing what you guys look like, and now it's changing on me. So imagine my brain right now is I'm not able to see everything how I'm normally able to see it. And so I even think that's why I'm off on like who's how old who is right now, because my brain's having to work a little harder today. So let's see. Join, just doing the morning thing, waking, making coffee, etc. Cleaning my art desk. That's where I watch you on my laptop. Oh, I love knowing that. I'm glad you're still here. All right, you guys. So let's see here. It's 2:43. I think what I'm going to do is just to give both people, I'm going to work on both pieces here. So I was able to kind of reconnect with this one, which I'm really excited about, and work on this whole part here, which that was a lot of fun. And now I'm going to switch gears and try to work on that other piece a little bit. And I think that piece was the, let's see here. I have to go look at the poll. It was the figurative poppies. We did that. And then the rainbow portal was the next one. So I'm going to pop that one up here and work on the rainbow portal. And at least we were able to kind of tap in here. I feel like I got this blur kind of taken out, which that was a lot of fun. But I don't think I'm going to be able to work on both without, you know, switching in between. I can't get this one all. This one probably has, let me be like, give you guys a time frame, because I think that would really help you too. This one probably has like 2 full hours left on it. Maybe, yeah, I would say probably 2 hours left on it, because I really want to bring the details in the hair, and that on top of what we've already done. It could even be 3 hours. So this one's bigger. It's also, look how big it is. Like this one's a 12 by 16. So I'm going to go off into this. This won't be a big transition. This won't, this other one has a little bit ways to go on it too. Let's see here. And then that'll give us 45 minutes on each one. But you know, the whole thing that we're trying to inspire today is just waking these pieces back up. And you guys are helping me do that, because both of these I was not very connected to right now. And I've been a little bit like, oh, I got to get these done. And now I feel like I've got some direction here. So this one is a 16 by 16. And I've already erased the rainbow once, and I'm going to erase it again. So you'll be able to see that. I love everything else that's going on here, but the rainbow is kind of driving me nuts. So that's my own personal issue. You guys might be liking it, but I'm not. So I'm going to switch gears here. and change that up. So what I love is this is the UART 600 again. This is the dark. I love dark paper. I'm kind of obsessed because I just really love how I can bring things out of the ethers with it, and I don't have to bring my darks into it. The darks are already there, and that's what I love so much. So I'm just going to go in hard here, and I am going to say, off with you. And you can even see underneath, it will reveal that I've made changes already. I think I might just go with more of a traditional rainbow. And I think I was just looking at something else, and now I'm just like, screw it. I'm going to do what I want to do. So I'm going to just get rid of this rainbow kind of foley here. And when we think about the rainbow, sometimes I even have to grab, I don't even think I have, I'm just like, all right. So when I erase, I'm going to get down into some of those spots, but I don't have to be perfect. I know I like the portal. And then sometimes I'll even just draw on there what I want to do. But you know, I could even just go on with the colors. So I have in this one, let's look here, you know, my palette doesn't change that much. A lot of it's just, I'll leave burnt sienna in and I'm taking the families out. I have the orange in here, but I'll probably keep the orange shade. And then going in between orange and orange shade. So what else I need to pull in here is a blue. So I have the ultramarine blue, which is one of my favorites. So I'm just going to pull in the ultramarine blue. This is the shade, so let me grab the one. It's only going to take me a couple minutes to regroup here. I need to pull all of these out so I can, one moment. Okay, I love my phthalo green, so I have the phthalo green in here. I'm going to pop that in. So it's good to kind of see how I'm navigating color. I also have the turquoise in here. And I'm going to be doing, starting the first of the year, I have palettes coming from Golden that they are sending me 4 of my, what I believe are my go-to colors. And I will be doing some giveaways. Those will be for US only because that's a little challenging right now. But let's see here. I'm missing my turquoise. Here we go. But I am going to be doing another giveaway that's coming up in the next month. That's going to be, I think what I'm going to do is a 6-month, 2 6-month memberships to my Pastel Insider. So even if you are a member, that you can still enter and you'll just get 6 months free. But I'll be doing that. So keep an eye out. I have some really exciting things planned, you guys. So it's just getting there. So I've got my ultramarine, and that the memberships will be for worldwide, so that everyone will be able to enter that. Okay, so I just got to get my diarylide. I'm going to wipe this off, and I'm also going to get myself a new towel. And then we'll be reset to finish out the live. I haven't done this before, so I think I'm doing pretty good on my transitions here. If you guys have any questions, it's definitely the time to ask. All right, so I've got most of my colors here that are in this piece. Do I have pastel on my face? That's the biggest challenge. I don't think I do. I like to check. Nope, I don't have it on. That's a good sign. I'm going to go grab a drink of water. Thinking about my rainbow here. So I think I'm going to hit a rainbow in where we go purple, red, and I'm going to pull it back. And then let's see where we are. The rainbow is too neat for you, Dawn. No offense meant. I love that. Chad, has anyone received the new Selenier Woodless pastel pencils? How do you like them? Oh, I need to go check those out, Susan. I have to go get them. You need to... I need to go find them. I'll do a search. I gotta send myself a reminder. I'm gonna send myself a reminder right now. Remind me at 6 p.m. to go check out the Linear pencils. Oh, it called them linear pencils, but I'll know what it is. So I have a little reminder for myself. I want to go check those out. I know, right? Yeah, you know, thanks a lot, Susan, for being an enabler. Not like I'm not one, right? Okay, I'm just gonna go in here with my, well, I was actually gonna start with magenta. I'll go magenta. I don't know, and I usually like to put this in too. So I'm gonna go with what I like. Gotta remember to follow my jam here. So you guys all know I love my carbon pencil. Love my carbon pencil. I don't know, maybe this is something where I just feel like I have to start fresh here. I'm gonna do my favorite type of, so see, it just goes all the way down to the bottom there. See, that's the other thing about coming back, is that sometimes you can just totally like let go of something that you were hiccuping on. And I just say hiccuping, kind of like looping, is I can come back with a whole fresh approach and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do this time. And it can really help break up something that was kind of in my way. So I'm just going to go in here. And I'm going to go with, I think I'm just going to make the violet. So I'm going to go more violet, and that's mixing ultramarine with the magenta. I have a little combo there. And then I'm going to go in with red. And the cool thing is this is going to give this piece a whole new fresh approach that I didn't have. And sometimes my batteries run out on a piece and I'm erasing something and then I'm like, ooh, I like this idea. So I'm going to go in with my orange shade here. And I'm okay that my colors are mixing in a little bit because that is they're harmonizing. And I use the black as a guide. I'm not a coloring in book, it's a guide. So if you watch me for a while, I will usually blend all those out by the end. I'm the goddess of UART 600 paper. I love that. You're an enabler. That's so funny. Yeah, we're both part of that same team. Let's see. No. Oh, we got people talking about supplies. Oh, like the whole set. The purples are in your... Yeah, you got to get those purples, guys. You've been listening. Susan, you're always listening to those little details. I've noticed that about you. You pick up on the subtleties and the details. I think that is really good. So now I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to ease into my oranges. I consider my burnt sienna an orange. All right. And then I'm going to go into my yellow greens. I'm going to put a little bit of mix these because that is pretty dark. And I could go into diarylide in this. It's going to even put it into more yellow greens. See, it's already getting better. And then I'm going to go in with my phthalo green with a little bit of black here. Maybe some of this permanent green too. All right, and I have this little rainbow over there I'm looking at. Now I'm going to go into, I always have to be reminded, you know, because they go into each other. I'm going to go in with the ultramarine here. Oh, did I just do turquoise? That's fine. Let's do turquoise. And then I'll hit ultramarine on the bottom. I have full feeling in my intuition that this, okay, here's another thing to think about, guys. This is maybe a little gem for you. I feel like sometimes the paintings know more than I do, and it knew that it needed to wait, and it was waiting for something that I couldn't access yet. So that's something to think about, Sarah, from this perspective of energy and connection, because I feel like we're putting energy into the canvas, into the pastel paper type vibe, right? Like my energy of who I am is being incorporated into this piece. So we're also tapping into our, you know, if you believe this, our inner being. And, you know, that's the soul conversation I'm having with my work. I'm having a soul connection. My inner being is connected. I'm getting a little deep here. We're going deep with Dawn. My kids always give me crap about it. So with that, sometimes our inner being and stuff is waiting for us. This is what I kind of feel connected to. It's waiting for us to connect something that we need to connect to move in this piece. And Sarah, maybe you need to hear something a little different. You needed to, you know, I hope you don't mind me, you know, talking more about this, but I think we can all relate. Like we needed something to click for us to move forward. And there's a lesson in everything. And I feel like I'm always keeping myself open to the lessons that I'm here to learn with each piece. And I think that can be really powerful, is trying to, you know, it helps me be gentle with myself. Because if I understand that maybe I'm not ready for that yet, or I wasn't ready at the time, and now I can see it, then that makes me feel like, oh, you know, I'm being guided by my inner guidance system. So that's just a perspective, an idea, something that's really helped me get through my journey, is just being more gentle with that. So let's see here. I kind of have one more color here, so I'm just a little bit like, and I think I'm just going to go real violet on that. Like, I did it on the top, but I think I'll take the top a little bit more, red. And this is helping me make the decision. So I'm going to have to go and bring in some of these whites and stuff again, because these are pencils, but that's okay. So I'm going to just maybe put a little bit of this over here, a little bit there. And then I can see chat is like going nuts here. We got some people in. Jonas is here, and Francine. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Oh, the pencils might be kind of hard. Oh, I'm super interested in that. Well, goodness, if you guys find any videos, put that in my Facebook group, our Facebook group. I would love to link up about the pencils. I'm sure other people might want to check them out. Let's see. Okay. Vivian says she's 79. Right on, Vivian. Hi, Dawn and everyone. Jonas is here. Hi, Jonas. So glad you made it today. I just Googled them, and yes, they're semi-hard, but pigment rich. I love the fine details. Oh, so they're going to be a little bit harder, so that could be fun. It's good to have different ranges because Caran d'Ache is super soft. Carbothello is really medium. And if Selenier has a harder one, almost maybe it's more like a new pastel, that might be interesting because you can do all kinds of details and scratch into it and all of that. I'm so glad, Francine, that you made it today. Hello, better late than never once again. At least I got my time for going deep with Dawn. Right? You just showed up just in time. I got your wonderful email, Francine. Thank you so much. I will definitely respond to you. Mondays and Tuesdays can be a little crazy for me. So that really made my day to see that. Oh, good. You guys are just saying hi and all chit chat, and I love that. I love that about this community. Ah, so great. I got 40 of you guys in here. Well, already, guys, I am in love with the rainbow way more than I was. And I would not have felt this way if I didn't step back. And now my piece is like, okay, Dawn, you had some time away and now you're back. So it's like now telling me that I can, you know, I wasn't open for this maybe as much. And now I'm open for it. Sarah, are you still there? I hope you're still there, Sarah. I'm calling out to you. Oh, there's Tartlet Art. She's here. I can't believe I figured that out that was you. Okay. So I got you still here, Sarah. You're on my mind, Sarah. I'm here with you today. I'm going to go a little bit of vermilion here. That's a little orangey red, but let's see what that does. I'm really kind of in love with vermilion. Vermilion and I, we're kind of connecting. Now I can go vermilion. I have this beautiful vermilion light here. That's just like the red permanent red light. I always like to keep these in order here. And that's got a little bit more peach to it. And then this one has it's a little bit cooler pink to it. I want the rainbow to have a little bit of like highlight on it. So I'm gonna kind of play with that. And I could bring in this vermilion. So you can see how those black lines, you know, I do give you guys all the line art with my lessons and my Pastel Insider membership, but the line art is there just to give you some structure before you go break it down. It's there to give you confidence. And it also allows you to really focus on the piece instead of having to focus on everything. Because if we had to learn to draw from scratch and do everything, it's just too overwhelming for our brains to take everything in. So that's what I really love about the system I've created with line art, is that it really allows you to focus on learning how to paint. And the drawing comes along the way when you start, you know, seeing and understanding how I'm doing all of this, then you can kind of start doing your own drawings. So now I'm just bringing up the values in these spots, and I just love bringing rainbows up. But you can see we're at 305, and I'm not rushing to get the rainbow done. I'm having a great time with the rainbow. So with that said, you know, I'm just showing you how I'm acting with the piece. So I'm not trying to get rushed finished. And I didn't know how much I'd be able to finish with you guys today, but I really think we've accomplished what I was talking about, that we're just here to wake up our pieces and to feel connected and know that the feelings that you're having are normal. That I don't feel connected. I feel like I'm over that piece. I feel like I moved on. You know, those are normal feelings. But what I'm trying to share with you is how to move through them and to reconnect again. I think I'm actually going to go in with orange on that. So I'm going to bring the orange into the palette. I got this orange in here. So I like to keep my colors together. I got orange shade. And I got orange, the core, which is it's the highest on the chroma there. And I'm going to bring that high chroma orange here. And I'm going to connect those two. I'm up on the upper layer here. And if you're watching the replay, guys, I would love to hear if you have any paintings that are waiting for you. How are you feeling about what we're talking about today? Please leave a comment. I love connecting with all of you that are watching the replay too. All right, so I feel like I'm bringing that up nicely. It's really coming together and it's making my heart happy. I have the phthalo green here, and now, you know, I can mix these, but I'm just kind of showing you how I work with the whole system. Is phthalo green and turquoise. You know, turquoise might be, I'm going to put these two together here, and I'm going to go in between them. So this is the new light. It's not the tint. It's the light. I do think this one has a little bit more of a gap on the sense of like color. So I'm just going to, because this one is the core, and then it went up to this. I feel like there wasn't enough in between on this one. Like, look at the red. I just feel like the red's a little bit more solid. So I'm going to go in with those and mix a little bit. And it's going to be light because this is going to be, I don't know, rainbows just symbolize so much to me. And I think we're all connected here. And rainbows are just so much joy and happiness. And I love painting them. So I'm just being gentle here. I'm trying to bury some of the lines, but I also want to keep my saturation up. And I want those lines to go away slowly. So now I'm going to go in for more of the core color here and bring that saturation down on the edge. And I'll bring some pencils in on that too. Jonas says, one artist talked about the visual IQ. It's about how accurate one can judge distances. What do you think of visual IQ? I find it interesting. Are you like, I might have to read about that a little bit more, Jonas. I love how you come in and ask some great questions, even though English is your second language. That's pretty brave of you. I think that's awesome. I haven't ever heard of it talked about that way. But, you know, distances, you know, I've been reading a lot about that in a book that I'm reading right now about, you know, creating visual distance. And so, you know, it's interesting how to create like the ambiance and kind of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The atmosphere. So I do find that interesting. I'll have to read more about that. I'm going to screenshot this and I'll read more about that. And I'm going to get back to you, Jonas. I like that. That's a really good, really good. Oh, Laura Sunchuk is here. I'm glad that I can understand your name. YouTube has changed everything, Laura. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. If you haven't watched definitely you're going to want to watch the replay today. At least you made it now. It's not sad. We all have a lot of stuff going on. Tartlet's here. Sarah, I'm glad you're hanging on every word. I love that. I'm so glad you're here and you're pushing through some of that. That means you're growing. So congrats to you because you're pushing through, and I think that's huge. Much better, more cohesive. Thank you, Michelle. Let's see. I'm making sure I haven't missed anything. Always glad that you come there, Jonas. That's a sign of a full life, Laura. Yeah, so true. Or a slipping mind. I met Laura in person, so I can laugh because I kind of got to know her a little bit. Jonah says, thank you, Dawn. Yes, get back to me about it too. Yes, it's harder to judge distances without measuring it as well. Yeah, I find that really interesting. Yeah, visual IQ. I'm gonna read more about that. I like that. All right, I'm gonna go in here. I'm really loving this whole violet transition right here. And that is a lighter violet. So I'm gonna go with the magenta to kind of bring that out a little bit. And this is where I feel like the watercolor vibrancy really pops in. I'm keeping the color on there. I want them to be harmonious. And you can see how it's starting to pick up. Like right here is what I'm talking about. See that line? So if I zoom in a little bit, let's do that. All right. How did it become 312? It's not allowed. Okay, and then I'm going to up the, because I did that, I have to up the value. I mean the light. All right, so in here I'm just playing with these two, and I have to load my wand and get that loaded so it won't take it away. So I'm up on the upper layers and I'm wiping off my wand, and then I'm going to go load in again. Now this is where I talked about the blending medium is really interesting to use too. I don't think I have that out. Let me see. I pulled it out the other day. I've had so many little projects on the side going on that it's like, Dawn, where, oh, here it is. I found it. I find a lot of people are really curious about the colorless blender, and I've been trying to tap into it more myself. But the colorless blender, what I have learned how to word it as is it puts wait, let me start over. It puts the pastel on your wand like a translucent pastel. So, or transparent. It's got a transparency to it. Now white is opaque, so you don't have as much transparency on that. And it also will change your color a lot more. So what this is it reduces the color shift, especially when you're already into your light colors, without changing your pigments as much, but it'll help you blend in those transitions without pulling the pigment off the paper. When I say pulling the pigment off the paper, if I have a wand, this is kind of like the application video. If I have a wand that I've completely, taken the color off, like if I go up to this blue up here and I start going into it, it's going to take away. And so I'll fix that later, but it's taking it away. If I want to go blend that in without it taking away, then I can put some of that colorless blender on. So let's say I put the blue back. So I have that back in there again. I think you can kind of see up in that corner. Oh my God, did I pick the farthest corner to work on? So now I can add some of the colorless blender. Now it does look white. It's translucent. So it will still kind of, add some color here, but I can make a blend happen without having to add more color in there. And what that'll do is create a transition. I wipe my wand off here, so that's going to pull color. But it will blend something without having to add more pigment to it. So if I add a little bit more, and I'm trying to make this smooth. Now, when you're working on dark paper, it can work against you, so you already have to be up in your values. So right here in this corner, I'm going to take some of the colorless blender, and I'm going to try to put this in here and blend these two together. Now, it is still pretty light. I do think it works better with the lighter areas. I've just wiped my wand off. Wipe my wand off again. So I'm just playing with the blending of it, and it blended it pretty good. So you have to kind of play around with it, because then I'll be like, well, maybe it took my saturation out a little bit, and so I'll go back and forth. That's just how I kind of go. But I can play with it really lightly. A lot of times I just have to be more gentle, and then I can get that transition that I want. So you're getting up on the upper layers, and that's what we're kind of doing, is playing with blending those in. Now this kind of dipped down, which I don't love. That's just my own personal preference. I can just put my line back in, but what happens is that line is going to stay on the surface, so I'll knock it down a little bit with my finger like that and reclaim my line again. So then I can go and put some of that red in there. Wipe off my wand. So I'm just going back and forth and trying to get it into a happy place. Now I want to bring up this yellow so I can go in. Now I want to grab white, so I put the colorless blender away, and I'm going to use some white with my diarylide. Now I could go in and grab my light. They don't have a light for diarylide. They did not add that. So I have to make it a light. And see, now I'm bringing up that value. So we're working on the rainbow. I guess that's what we're doing today. Hey, Pam Duvall is here. Oh my gosh, hello. So glad that you made it. Wow, we got quite a great group that came in today. That's wonderful. Oh, what happened to Michelle? Where's Michelle? I bought the colorless blender, yet to try it, in a bit of a funk at the moment. Well, I'm sending you good vibes. I'm hoping, girl, that this live maybe lifted you up a little bit. I'm sending you love and support with whatever you're going through, but it's always a bummer when we're in a funk. We just almost have to do a lot of self-care during that time. So I hope you're doing the self-care dance. That's what I kind of call it. All right, so I'm just really kind of making these transitions happen. You can see how I'm working on them. Oops, I just went into the bright yellow green. And then I have this light here that I was working on. Now, the bright yellow green, I could definitely go in and just use the bright yellow green, but it's fun to kind of be able to use some of the other colors that I have. This is the actual core color of bright yellow green, which is actually neon. I find it to be really bright. So I'm just trying to find a wand. I'm just wiping my wand off real good, and I'm just going to use this wand, and I'm going to load it. I'm going to kind of prime it. And then I'm going to wipe it off again. And now I'm priming it. This color has given me a little bit of a trouble. And now I can bring that in. It stays in there kind of strongly, and I can't get it on the wand. Now you can see it's coming on. There's always sometimes a color that gets a little finicky. So you can see how I've done quite a bit of layering here and working with value to really get this rainbow to make me happy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just taking that time. Now I have my turquoise here. I'm going to bring up this. I'm going to go in the turquoise with the white a little bit, but I could go get turquoise light. And now I got the ultramarine. So the ultramarine, they actually brought in multiple colors because it is a core color. I mean, it's a primary. It's one of the primaries. So we have this beautiful ultramarine medium. And then we have the ultramarine light. Now I'm going to use the ultramarine medium. I think the medium is where I want to go with this. And I'll bring in that pencil back in again. See, I know that, so I'm not stressed about it. And then I'm going to mix between the ultramarine. So if you guys have any more questions about today and about what we've talked about waking up our art, getting reconnected with the pieces that we might be frustrated with, or that we might, you know, they've had time to rest and now we're like moved on and we're like, what do I do with that? If you guys have any more questions about anything, I would love to be able to answer them before I go. And then I have a lighter violet. I'm going to actually use the core violet a little bit because I don't want it to go too bright. So see how I have, this is how I could use these other colors. I'm just going to show you. Like I have these two here. I have the violet already in here a little bit, but I'm going to mix them too because I don't want it to be too big of a jump. But that's hard, you know, it's not that hard to mix, but it's just nice to be able to dip into it and then kind of cascade down here. Okay. Now I'm going to go into this and clean this up right here. All right, so I'm going to pull these extras. And then I'm going to just clean this up a bit. So you can see now I'm refining it and I want this to start kind of going. So I'll show you where I'm going to go next so you can kind of see. We have 322. I'm going to catch up with chat, but now I can go into pencils and I can start even blending these together a little bit. Let's see here. Yes, my secret is out. I have a broken filter. Oh my God. Oh, Laura, you are so funny. You do have, you are a little unfiltered. We will admit that. I'm glad we're admitting it, but you were a lot of fun. Let's see. I like the color with the blender too. I bought the colorless blender. You have to try it a bit of a, okay, we read that. I'm sending you love. I also forgot it was Tuesday. That was Pam. I'm making sure I'm, Laura. I hear you, Michelle. It's been a dry season for me as well. That's why it's so disappointing when you can't make it here on Tuesdays. Well, I'm so glad that you made it here, Francine, and I'm sending you guys a lot of love and support. I like the rainbow and the colors. Thank you, Jonas. On the plus side, I just cleared all my pans and put them back in the trays. I did notice with the 53 set, I put the colorless blender in my metallics and it's a very tight fit. Yeah, I would think so. You did inspire me to pull out all my pans back in their trays, Dawn. And when I saw you carrying your stack of them, as I had them stacked in my smaller containers, now I can see all my pretties again. Well, good. I'm glad. That's where we're here. Baby steps. We're just trying to inspire each other, trying to, you know, support each other. And I think that is huge. So all of you that showed up today, we're all meant to be here. I believe that. I'm going to go in here with just a few pencils and I'm just going to work on this little rainbow. This is the 575. It's the leaf green. It's in the Carbethel. This might be a little dark. No, it's not too bad. And I just like to start kind of bridging some gaps here. Because of course I don't want my rainbow to be too perfect. I love working in the pencils. And what I'm basically doing is matching them up with what's below. You can see I'm not holding on to them and getting all tight. I'm, I feel like there's something on my mouth. I'm trying to just be loose with them. Now I really love Portrait Pink and I have that up here and I always like to try to find use for it. So I'm going to bring it in a little bit right here. Now this is a Caran d'Ache. It's super soft. It's a 582 portrait pink. 788, that is a line from what I've learned. Now you can see how this is going to bring up the highlight here. But these pencils work really well when you layer them up. They don't really like to be just used alone. Now I have this beautiful vermilion red, a 305. Now red always has to go to, you know, pink or a peach. It's hard to get that higher value of it. So it's just part of red. This is about as bright as I can get it. But you can see how I'm just playing around here. Now if I got a black mark that I'm trying to get rid of, I'll just layer it back and forth, and if worse comes to worse, I'll erase. So I feel like that's really coming along. So before we go, I'm actually going to put in my white mark so you can see that, kind of at least this area finished up. I use white because this is a focal point. Talk a lot about focal points. See how that's just going to clean that up. So pastel, soft pastel is super flexible, guys. It is amazing what we can do. Well, I love that so much more than what it was. I'm going to pan out here before we are done so everyone can see it finished. There we go. And then, there we go. All right, guys. I'm going to check in with chat here. I can't believe it's almost 3:30 already. All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. Look at, we got, Pam says, this does make me want to revisit some of my first pieces and apply all that I've learned. I hope it inspires you, Pam. I mean, it was really lovely working with you one-on-one in Connecticut. And I just think, don't let all the pieces overwhelm you. Pick your top, like 2 favorites or 1 and just start there. Maybe you're not meant to do them all. You can see how it feels, but a lot of it's just about reconnecting with the piece and getting through that uncomfortable stage of like, okay, it's been sitting there for months. I have one like that I've been wanting to finish up for a long time, and it's just been sitting there, and I just know I have to reconnect with it and work through whatever it's meant to. And I do believe there is a reason for them to sit for a while, like I said. But I hope that this live stream has kind of inspired you guys to, you know, maybe have a shift of perspective and to also talk kindly to ourselves and really just celebrate what we are doing and not focusing on what we're not doing. You know, just being here at the live and showing up and coming here today, it is big. So, you know, your brain's always working, your subconscious is always working, and we're just trying to catch up with our inner being and our consciousness and all the stuff we're trying to take in. And some people take a longer time to process a lot of new information. So, you know, that could be part of your journey. Let's see. Francine says, I love how you put that glow in your pieces. It's so peaceful. Thank you so much, Francine. I'm going to go back to the bear from the first class I took with you. Oh, that would be lovely, Pam. I hope you share your journey with us. Thank you, Louise, for your kind words. It's really been lovely today. Sometimes I'm always like, what are they going to think about this idea for these lives? And, you know, each one, what I'm learning for me is if I can be aligned with what I'm feeling for the week and share that with you guys, I feel like that's really powerful. And that's what I want these live streams to be about, is to connect with you and the community. And we are chat forward. That's what this is about. And so if you want to learn more, make sure you try out my free lesson. I'm going to pop that here and pin it to the top before I go, because I just think it's an intro to PanPastel. And you guys that haven't checked it out, it would be a great value. You can subscribe to my newsletter and you will get sent the link to join the free library. So let's see here. I'm going to pop it in here. Let's see. We're going to get that in there. I'm going to do a refresh here. Okay, I got 29 likes on this post. If you could take a moment and like the post, that would be awesome. The live, I really appreciate it. Okay, and then I'm going to pin this to the top. It's a great entryway if you are interested in learning more about my process. I get you started to help you on your journey. So to everybody, you have a great day. Let's see what Susan says. There are multiple learnings in each live. I hope everyone has a lovely week. Thank you, Susan. And Loretta, thank you for this inspiring session and finishing techniques. I mean, I didn't really get anything finished, but at least I worked through a few spots and I've reconnected with my pieces, and I'm really excited to work on both of these. So it works. It really works. I just can't express it enough. Ari says thank you. Sarah, you are so welcome. You have a great day too. And I hope you revisit the Amanita. I'm sending you lots of support on that. All right, you guys, Francine, lovely to see you today. Luis, always a pleasure. Pam, so glad you were able to show up. Jonas, you always get me, you always say something that expands my mind. I'm excited to kind of read about that. Sunny, you good, buddy? Sunny's having a little moment over there. Yeah, Michelle, so glad you were able to make it today. It's always, you know, a bright spot in my day when you come. And Laura, so glad that you came. Lynn, all of you. It's just been great. Laura Senchek, all of you. So thank you so much. And I will see you guys. I think I might be taking next week off, but I will put it in my newsletter. But if I do take next week off, I'll see you in the next live. So I'll keep you posted. If you're not subscribed to my newsletter, that's the way to really keep up with things. But I always put a thumbnail up 24 to 48 hours ahead of when a live's going to happen. So, all right, it's been amazing. I appreciate you all, and I wish you much, much inspiration. And I'm sending you lots of love and support on your creative journey. And thanks for having me here today and showing up. All right, I'll talk to you later. Sunny knows it's over, so he's starting to like roar. So I'll see you guys soon. All right, take care.